If you're stuck with a weak left hand that doesn't want to leave the snare, and you feel like your right hand is only good for timekeeping, it doesn't really want to go or do anything else around the drum set, then today's lesson is definitely for you. It's time for you to break out of this box, getting to where both hands are evenly capable so that you can orchestrate creative parts around the drum set at will, whether it's grooves or creative fills. Neglect this kind of practice and your limbs will stay imbalanced, making groove creativity and navigation around the kit a struggle. But take the open-handed challenge with me today and practice this consistently, and your weak hand will disappear and you'll be so much more confident and feeling at home behind your instrument, which is tremendous. You can do this. Hey, welcome to the Non-Glamorous Drummer. I'm so glad you're hanging out today. I help beginner self-taught drummers know what to practice so that they can nail songs and ultimately sound awesome with a band. And hey, a big thing that you've got to be able to do in order to freely improvise and create on the drums, which is something we're kind of getting into today. You need to be able to play what's in your head, right? And that's one of the most common struggles I hear from drummers. I can't play what's in my head. I got these ideas, but I try to make them come out and it just doesn't work. Well, I have a free gift for you in the description. This is my Play What's in Your Head 30 Days to 4-Way Rock Coordination for the Beginner Drummer. Learn a new groove every day, step by step, gradually layering in new coordination elements so that 30 days later, you've got pretty awesome 4-way rock coordination to play the stuff you want to play and play your favorite grooves and your favorite songs. This is going to help you a ton and save you a whole bunch of time. Even if it takes you longer than 30 days, that's not the point. The point is that this is step by step. So you're learning one new little thing every day, so it's not overwhelming, it's nice and simple. So many students of mine have just had awesome results from this and have really enjoyed working through it. It's a lot of fun. There's play along recordings, and so even if you're new to notation, you'll learn quickly. So my free gift to you, go grab it. If you want to be able to play what's in your head and build significant 4-way rock coordination, grab that PDF guide in the description below. And that's going to help you out a lot with today's lesson, actually, and that'll be a really good companion for what we're doing today with this whole open-handed challenge. And so I definitely want you to grab that. You know, the big frustration that I hear so much in regards to coordination and just feeling comfortable on the kit is this. You feel like even though you've built some coordination, your left hand stays stuck on the snare and your right hand stays stuck with timekeeping. And so it's kind of like, you know, as a beginner, each limb finds its role. You know, your right foot's job is to lay down a kick drum pattern. Your left hand's job is to play backbeats. Right hand's job is to play eighth notes. And maybe if we're crazy, we'll learn something with the left foot. And so we get stuck inside this box, and really it's because your hand-to-hand coordination isn't even. You're still plagued by a weak hand because your left hand isn't really doing much. It's just playing backbeats. And so your fills are sloppy, it's hard to be creative, it's hard to improvise, and it's hard to orchestrate fills around the kit because you feel really out of your comfort zone when you're moving around the drum set. As soon as that left hand leaves the snare or right hand is doing something other than timekeeping. And so that's not where we want to be, right? If we're going to be creative drummers where we can find our own voice and play what's in our heads, we've got to be able to free our limbs to go wherever we want on the drum set and play whatever we want. And this is a way too common struggle. I get it. I've been there. So many of my students have been there. I've been there. And so what you've got to do is really push yourself and challenge yourself and kind of really push yourself outside of this box. And by shaking things up and doing this whole open-handed challenge, or if you get crazy, setting up your kit backwards, that's going to help you a ton. Kind of where we're going today is that sometimes the more important thing for your coordination isn't practicing more coordination exercises. I know I just pitched you an e-guide that is coordination exercises. Really, it's musical grooves, though. They're straight out of songs that you can use in songs, but that's besides the point. Sometimes what you need isn't necessarily more exercises. It's a new way of approaching things. And you just need to be shaken up a little bit and thrown out of the groove you've been stuck in. No pun intended. So that's where we're going today. You could potentially build more independence for creative playing by practicing open-handed than you can by practicing a bunch of coordination exercises. But hey, better yet, you practice open-handed or on a backwards kit, applying some of the coordination exercises you've used in the past, and then you start to reap a lot of huge rewards. So the open-handed challenge, this is super simple. This is not rocket science, but I'm going to give you a lot of specific steps to take. First, though, in a nutshell, this is open-handed challenge in a nutshell. Practice a simple groove that you already know, open-handed on the kit. So it could be money beat, something really easy. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's a basic rock kick drum pattern, like. Just take something that you feel like you know really well, and you're like, I could play this groove all day normally, and just switch your hands around, see what happens. If you've never done it before, it's gonna be a train wreck, but it's okay. Go really slow, because you've got to focus on that, left hand, right foot relationship. It's one thing to have right hand and right foot locked together or operating offsetting, like this, together, or offsetting. We've done that before a lot in syncopated kick grooves. But suddenly we've got to do this way. So at a fundamental level, if it's already a train wreck here on this first step, practice that exactly. Left hand and right foot together. Make sure it's tight, and then do them back and forth. And so just to literally go back to basics, square one, fundamentals. Can I get my left hand locked with my right foot? Okay, now we can add in a backbeat here. And just begin slowly relearning the grooves that you once knew, but now have been thrown apart by pushing yourself outside of the box, and relearn them open-handed. Then learn to play your favorite simple song this way. So take a simple song like Vultures by John Mayer, Back in Black by AC/DC, going to those classic songs, classic beginner songs that everybody learns at some point. A simple song that's a favorite song that you already know really well, and you're comfortable with the grooves and the fills and everything, and just challenge yourself to play it open-handed. If it's a ride heavy song, move your ride over to here, or just keep time up here on the crash instead. But if it's a hi-hat heavy song like Vultures or Billie Jean or some sort of song like that, just go for it, playing it open-handed. And what's gonna happen is you're gonna have fun because it's a song, and also because it's a song, you're gonna spend more time, more minutes doing it. And that's key here, repetition and just spending the time playing open-handed, making yourself do it. And when you can have a little bit of fun playing music, that helps a ton. Then as a bonus, switch your kit around backwards to really put this to the test. If you have the luxury of having 2 drum sets in your space, whether it's in a basement or an attic or a garage or whatever, if you've got 2 drum sets, just switch one of them around backwards. Leave one normal, but move the other one backwards, even if it's just kick, snare, hats backwards, and get in the habit of sitting down at that drum set for 15 minutes each day. Even if it's just 15 minutes, doesn't matter what you play, get to where you can play some basic grooves and basic songs like we just did, and just do it for 15 minutes on the backwards kit. Doesn't matter if you sound horrible. I'm not asking you to record yourself or make videos or post them online. The point is just to do it. And if you do that consistently, day after day after day, you're rewiring your brain, you're throwing yourself into what feels like chaos at first, but so your brain can rebuild and suddenly have this even coordination that you could not have gained otherwise, eliminating the weak hand and teaching your hands to trade roles and do whatever you want around the kit. That's pretty awesome. So in a nutshell, that's it. That's the open-handed challenge. But let me give you some more specifics. So here's some specific steps to take if you need the detailed step-by-step here, or if you're a beginner drummer and you're starting out and you're like, hey, Steven, I want to get off on the right foot here, or on the left foot. Bad joke. If it's a backwards kit, and I want to go ahead and learn to play open-handed or backwards right now from the get-go. Okay, great. Well, here's some specific steps you can dive into. First thing I want you to do, this is, let's see, 5 steps total. 5 specific steps here. This is the more detailed version. Step 1 is open-handed money beat. So left hand is on the hi-hat, right hand is on the snare. Just practice going. Just do that over and over again for minutes without stopping. Pay attention to what your left hand's doing up here on the hats. Pay attention to how tightly you're closing the hats. Be listening as you're doing this, listening to how closed the hats are, how loose they are. And practice playing even 8s, bum, 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 but also doing more of a quarter note emphasis, like teach that left hand to do one or the other, because man, that is increasing that brain connection between ear, brain, left hand, because that's something your left hand's probably never done. Starting off, your left hand's gonna wanna follow your right hand. You're gonna end up with. That's always what happens. So be patient and see if you can keep the left hand steady. That might mean watching it as you're playing. And then once you can do that, okay, try to add some quarter note accents. If you can do that, hey, that's awesome. That's a great place to be. You're playing backwards. Whether this is full backwards kit or you're just playing open-handed, same thing applies. Now, step 2, do a simple groove with one syncopated snare note. So something like this. Doesn't have to be exactly what I just played, but something like that. Simple rock groove, boom, boom, bam, ba, boom, boom, bam, boom, boom, bam, ba, boom, boom, bam. And just get used to that feeling and make sure that that right hand syncopated note isn't throwing off the left hand, because what's happening here, we're used to playing right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. But now we're essentially playing left, right, left, right, left, right. Because if you think about it, let's say we play something like this. That's a lot of boom, ba, boom, bam, bum, ba, 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 left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. If you're uncomfortable playing left, right, left, right, left, right, you're going to have trouble here. Now, if you've practiced your singles diligently, going right, left, right, left, right, left, this is probably all good when you're keeping time with the right hand. But now you've got to practice left hand lead singles. Remember, left hand lead singles are no different from right hand lead singles. We're just shifting what our brain's prioritizing and how we're hearing them. It's a listening thing. Because singles are singles, we're just going back and forth between hands. But now, because we're starting with the left hand, it totally throws our brains off. It's so funny the way that works. So make sure you're comfortable with left hand lead singles. Put that left hand on the hats. That means you can now theoretically play. And so play that groove, something that's just more syncopated, very driving. Think like heavy 90s rock. Boom, ba, boom, ba, 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 boom, ba, boom, ba. Get that feeling good. Again, it's like you're rewiring your brain, but you're developing so much more balance here. Now, if you want to get crazy, remember there's a couple other layers we can think about. One is we can ghost those syncopated notes, so we could play more like this. So that's kind of introducing something I like to refer to as dynamic independence, where we're developing even more coordination without changing the notes or the rhythms by changing the volumes. And that's not easy. It's definitely easier said than done. And so that's something you can also begin doing here, as well as the, loud, soft, instead of hammering even eighths here. And so you could get into the territory of so you're going loud, soft, and then you're ghosting the syncopated notes, as opposed to the full-on. One isn't better than the other, but one is harder than the other. And I think that second way is potentially a little more nuanced, a little more musical, but it all depends on the song and what you want to play. But that's definitely some added challenge. And so if you're ready to take the plunge on that, go for it. Now, step number 4, talking about adding challenge. We want to repeat these first 3 steps, but now doing 16th molar style timekeeping on the hats. This might be the part where you're like, Steven, my brain's breaking, I'm done. I've been there, I know. And hey, I'll be honest with you, I'm still not nearly as comfortable playing open-handed as I am normal. The funny thing about it is I can kind of play all the same stuff open-handed as normal, but it doesn't feel as comfortable. And so there's sort of a drumming learning truth there somewhere, that you will get to the point where you can play the stuff open-handed, but it still might not feel as comfortable to you. You'll be in your comfort zone when you're like, maybe that's the comfort zone, and maybe you can do that here. Maybe you can do it backwards, but it just doesn't feel as comfortable to you. The listener might not even tell a difference, but it doesn't feel as comfortable to you. It's very possible that you'll get into that territory, and that's where it's just that repetition. It takes a ton of time. If I were to go out and play every gig open-handed for the next year, that would probably solve it for me. But I'm not going to do that because I would rather not do that. It's not necessary to play open-handed all the time. Yes, there are certain songs where you want to. Like Don't Stop Believin', it totally makes sense to go. And so there are certain songs where you really have to do the open-handed thing. If you want to throw in tom fills, So it's cool the freedom that gives you, but 99% of the time you don't need to play open-handed. So I know that was a little side note, but just keep that in mind. So we want to repeat these first few steps, now doing molar 16th. So that means we're going back to money beat and going. If you're brand new to the molar motion, the loud soft, accent tap thing, we've got other lessons on that. I'll link them in the description. Go check those out. Make sure that you're getting that happening with your right hand first before attempting it with your left. Just my recommendation, because generally if you are right-handed, you're going to get the hang of this motion much more quickly with your right hand. Then you have the advantage of having your right hand kind of teach it to your left, and even having them play together and watching both of your hands. One simple tip, when you're working on eliminating a weak hand, and you're trying to get your hands balanced, turn your hands over, look at your sticks, look at where you're gripping. Are you gripping the same way? Are you gripping in the same spot, same amount of butt end sticking out, same tightness, same fulcrum? Is everything looking the same, not only feeling the same, but looking the same? Is the motion the same? And so just an additional tip there when you're working that weak hand, you take advantage of the fact that your right hand is better than your left, and let your right hand be a reference point to help teach your left. And so you can practice these things together. But if you have not yet worked molar with right hand, just stop the video here and go dive into those other lessons so you can do that. Because at this point, we want to go back through these, now repeating these same sorts of grooves, but now with the molar timekeeping with the left hand. And this is just going to even further enhance the weak hand strength, precision, and nuance over here. So once you've done open-handed left hand molar money beat, now you can add in a syncopated snare note like we did in step 2. Just like that. It doesn't matter exactly what the groove or the pattern is, just something simple like that with one extra snare note, and then try adding in some more. Now the challenge at this point when you're going, it's not just left, right, left, right, left, right. It is left, right, but we also have a soft left hand note lining up with potentially a loud right hand note, which is super weird. So practice going. Is that weird enough for you? But man, that's going to increase your coordination so much. Do it with soft snare notes. Also do it with loud snare notes. Practice them softly, practice them loudly. It all comes back to that dynamic independence thing. And you can take this apart and figure out as many ways as you want to practice it. Kind of like this. You could sit here and go. Just try to sync up some soft 16ths along with this. Or some loud 16ths. Playing these evenly while this is accent tap. So many different little ways you can, take this apart and look at it and basically deconstruct it and put it back together, really figuring out what is the core of what I'm doing here. And you know what? I'll let you in on a secret. The students of mine who have the most success on the drums across the board are the ones who look at this kind of thing and listen to me teach it, and then they do some self-analysis and they say, all right, how many different ways can I practice this so that I can extract even more value from it? How can I take this and run with it and really target my weak areas with this? And so they're figuring out, okay, my weak area is doing ghost notes on the snare in the midst of molar. So how can I target that? Let's do something like this. And just doing that over and over again. Or something like, or whatever it is, and figuring it out, taking the initiative and having the discipline to do that. Just saying, that is what some of my best students do all the time, and I'm always amazed at, wow, you came up with that. Wow, so that's what you're practicing from that lesson? That's so cool, and I'm always so impressed and so proud of them. That can be you too. And so figure out exactly what you need to focus on here so that you're taking care of the details and the nitty-gritty and you're nailing this open-handed stuff. Then, hey, there is a 5th step. I told you 5 steps. The 5th step is spend at least 15 minutes a day playing open-handed. I kind of already said that, right? or playing on a backwards kit. Just 15 minutes a day. It doesn't matter so much what you practice as it does the fact that you're doing it. You're playing open-handed. You're challenging yourself to be thinking backwards and jumping out of that box. And so, hey, you do all of this and you're going to reap some massive rewards. I promise you that. You got to spend 15 minutes a day at least on this. 30 minutes is even better, but 15 minimum. Here's what will happen over the next few months. 1, your weak hand will disappear. It will now be stronger and more coordinated. 2, your fills will be more clean and precise thanks to better interplay between hands. And so each hand is able to fully operate on its own. So there's not a hand that's throwing things off, that's sloppy. You're able to, reach to wherever you want to reach with either hand, which leads us into the next thing here. You'll be able to orchestrate grooves and fills around the kit more because each hand will be comfortable leaving its home base. Right hand no longer lives here or here, it can now go wherever. Left hand no longer just lives here, it can go wherever. And so you'll find yourself being able to go. I know that was total randomness, so the point is not that specifically, but the idea is that you're able to just move where you want to go. You don't have to think so hard about it. And so what does that mean? You'll feel so much more confident and at home on the drums, able to play what you want to play. That's pretty awesome. These are the huge wins I want for you, and you will get there when you take action on this. So, question for you as you go. Does your coordination issue have more to do with not enough time spent playing than it does finding more exercises to practice? Kind of similar to the hopefully thought-provoking question I asked you at the end of last week's lesson of, is the thing you need to focus on more repetition and just better quality in your practice rather than more exercises? Maybe that's you. Just think about that. Pay attention to what you're doing, and maybe what you need to do is just spend more time playing open-handed, playing on a backwards kit, not finding more complex exercises, and just spending more time pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. But hey, whatever you choose to do, take action on this, follow these steps, and you're gonna grow a ton in your coordination. Your weekend will be gone. So as always, know that you can do this. Go grab that e-guide before you go. If you wanna play anything in your head and no longer be stuck translating ideas to the kit, if you want to build coordination step by step and have a whole bunch of creative ideas to use for open-handed and backwards kit practice, go grab my 30 Days to 4-Way Rock Coordination PDF guide in the description. It is yours, my gift to you. All right, as always, I'll see you on the next lesson. Stay non-glamorous. You can do this.